The lovely dark hair that tumbled becomingly to her shoulders had a tousled, unkempt look. Her intelligent, somewhat thin face looked disapprovingly at her reflection. She wanted to look her best, since in a short time she'd be meeting her new employer, Elizabeth Collins Stoddard. The mere sound of the name suggested someone stately, cold, and demanding. Victoria sighed, and her alert green eyes reflected back to her from the mirror with a gleam of dismay in them. She adjusted the belt of her dark blue trench coat and vaguely smoothed the scarf at her throat as she thought of the ordeal ahead. The waitress returned with the toast and coffee and placed it before her. Pausing to regard her with interest, she asked, "You here visiting someone?" Victoria took a sip of her coffee and smiled as she reached for a piece of toast. "No, I've come here to take a job." The waitress looked blank for a moment, then her round face brightened. "Oh, you're going to work at the office down in the canning factory." She shook her head. "I'm going to be employed at Collins' house as a governess for young David Collins. No doubt you've heard of the family." The waitress registered shock. "Oh, you bet I've heard of the family," she said in a surprised voice. With a quick glance around to make sure no one was within listening distance, she added, "You know what you're getting into?" It was a startling question. Victoria stared at her for a moment. "What do you mean?" "I mean, Collins' house is a real kooky place," the waitress said in the same urgent tone. "It's located on a cliff a couple of miles from town, and if ever there was a haunted mansion in this part of Maine, Collins' house is it." Victoria forced a small smile. "I'm more interested in the people than the house." "Oh, they're oddballs, too," the waitress said with a grimace. "Of course, they just about own the town, but people around here don't see much of them. They keep to themselves. And as for that young David you're planning to look after, I've heard that he's a regular little monster." Victoria's uneasiness grew. "You mean he's deformed in some way?" "Oh, nothing you'd notice," the waitress said with a wink. "It's inside his head, if you get me. They say he's impossible to manage, as wild as his father and Roger Collins. That's his father. Sure has been mixed up in trouble from time to time. He's the only one we see in the village often, and then he spends hours on end in the Blue Whale. That's the local bar. Roger sure likes his liquor." "What about his wife?" "Oh, they're separated, as far as anyone around here knows. He used to live in Augusta. He and the boy came here to stay at Collins' house a little while back." "I see," Victoria said slowly. "What about Elizabeth Collins' daughter?" The waitress rolled her eyes. "You won't believe this. That woman hasn't left Collins' house for 18 years. 18 years? Victoria gasped, and her thoughts began to race wildly. It all fitted in, matched her own reasons for coming here. Is she crippled or something?" "Oh, nothing like that. The story goes that her husband left her one night 18 years ago, and she's never gone out of the house since." "That's fantastic." The waitress shrugged. "Some people think there may be more to it than that. There's been gossip that Elizabeth's husband was murdered, that she may even have had something to do with it, and that's why she's acted so strange ever since." Victoria frowned across the counter at the girl. If there had been anything like that, the police would have found out long ago. "Oh, don't be too sure. This is isolated country, and the Collins family are mighty important people around here. Not many can afford to cross them or question them." Victoria pushed away her empty coffee cup. "You don't paint a very pleasant picture of Collins' house," she said. The waitress smiled. Maybe I've made it sound too spooky," she admitted. "After all, there is Carolyn. That's Elizabeth's daughter. She's a swinger and about your age, I'd say." "Well, that sounds better." "Oh, you'll like Carolyn," the waitress promised. "She's sort of a friend of mine. Tell her that you were talking to Maggie Evans." "I will," Victoria promised. She was about to ask some more questions, but the door from the lobby opened, and a tall, lantern-jawed man